Hi there, and this is Michael Buckoff, the founder, owner, and the materials writer for all of the lessons at the 7-Step System to Pass a TOEFL IBT. You're one of my students, and you completed, it looks like, integrated writing practice test number 8 about fast food. So, I read it, evaluated it, scored it. Your score here is 2.5 out of 5, 17 points out of 30, or 70% out of 100, which is the grade I will be using at Blackboard. So what can you do to strengthen this essay? So the main thing is in the second paragraph, you're trying to put too many points in here. You're taking some points from reading and some from listening, but you have reading point 1, listening point 1, but you're going beyond that. So I'm going to help you reorganize your essay a little bit so you can see how you can organize this type of writing to get the highest possible score on the TOEFL exam. Notice how this paragraph is really big. You probably need to break this one up, right? But let's start with the introduction. So you say the reading passage explains that fast food led to obesity and high health risks for people in the United States. However, listening from various aspects explains people's misunderstanding of fast food, that consumers should be responsible for their own way of lifestyle. So there's quite a few problems with language use in here, and also I'm going to show you how you can organize this a little bit better. So that's our first step. Okay, here are some slight changes I'll make in the introduction here. The reading passage explains that fast food leads, notice how I'm using present tense here, not past, leads to obesity, creates high health risks among people in the United States, and encourages consumers to overeat. However, the listening passage, casting doubt on the points in the reading passage, explains that there are misunderstandings about fast food and that consumers should be responsible for their own lifestyles. Those are the slight changes I would make. That kind of restructures your introduction a little bit more directly around the purpose of the reading and the listening passage. Let's take a look at the second paragraph that you have here. You say, first, the reading passage thinks that because fast food restaurants provide high calories and unhealthy foods, this is the main reason for causing children and adults obesity. Whereas though now fast food already provide fruit and more options for drinks, obesity caused from inactive lifestyle that people should aware their unhealthy lifestyle. So a lot of language use issues in here. Your grammar, your vocabulary is getting in the way of your ideas. So you're limited right now. You're very limited in the sentence structures that you're using. And the other thing is when you get into the listening passage, you're not even acknowledging that the listening passage is saying this information. We don't even know. We know what the reading passage is, but the other idea, we're not sure where it's coming from, so we have to assume that maybe it's also coming from the reading passage. So we actually need to make some pretty big changes in this paragraph. So what do we do? In this paragraph, you were talking about the healthier options with the fruit and salads, but that was not part. If you look at this second paragraph, it doesn't really fit with the first point in the reading, so I had to make some pretty big changes to this paragraph. Here's what I would say. First, the reading passage thinks that because fast food restaurants provide inexpensive and convenient food to consumers, these foods contain high calories and a lot of fat, and people are busy and do not have a lot of money due to the worsening economic conditions that are causing people to become fat. However, the speaker in the lecture argues that obesity can not only be blamed on fast food restaurants. The speaker asserts that people's sedentary lifestyles of watching too much TV and playing too many video games without being active is also causing people to become overweight. So if you see this right in here, this is what you really didn't get. That was very important. That was the important point. I think that first point in the lecture that you didn't really articulate. All right, let's go to our next paragraph. Okay, so you say, whereas now fast food restaurants already provide fruit and more options for drinks, obesity caused from inactivity lifestyle, that people should be aware. You're kind of putting it in there, but because you were mixing the fruit and the other, you're kind of mixing two different ideas from the listening passage, and you had a lot of grammatical errors with that. I'm just going to get rid of it, right? Now the next idea here, the reading passage main point is the reason for unhealthy society is the limited options for fast food. And let's look at this one. Which is true. That's good. And then you probably have too many ideas going on here. I don't know why this paragraph is so big, but we got to make some changes to this one too. So I'm going to show you what I would do with this paragraph. Now that I've made some changes in this third paragraph, basically I just put reading point number 2 and listening point number 2. That's it. You'll see the listening point number 2 right here if you want to check for accuracy. So here, the reading passage's main point is that fast food provides limited options for consumers, and that fast food advertising has caused this food to become the main food source for society, thereby causing ailments such as high cholesterol, diabetes, and heart disease. In contrast, the speaker in the lecture claims that fast food chains are making an effort to offer consumers healthier options such as fruits and salads. In fact, some states like New York and California, the speaker explains, offer calorie counts on each food item on the menu so consumers can understand how much they are eating. You remember how big your paragraph was? You had too many ideas in there. You should have just focused on the second point in the reading passage with the second point in the listening passage, something like what I did here. But now we have to create a whole nother paragraph. You don't even have this one. We need a paragraph now that talks about reading point number 3 along with listening point number 3. So what would that look like? So if you embed the voice markers into your conclusion, it'll sound something like this. To sum up, it is undeniable, according to the reading passage, that the fast food world now has had a great impact on people's health. But that does not mean, according to the speaker in the listening passage, that people should choose such an unhealthy lifestyle. So if you put those two voice markers in there, then we know exactly who is saying what. And those are the main changes. These are the changes that I would make to your writing. So let's look at it one more time. Let's spell check it first, and then we'll read it one more time. Now remember that this reading passage that we read here is very, very simple. Now, you will be writing about things at the graduate level that are 1,000 times more complex than this, because you'll be doing a lot of theories and things like that. So you got to make sure this quarter you got to work on solving those language use issues. You got to be really good at understanding the main and most important support points of reading and listening passages and being able to explain those ideas. Your professor is going to ask you a lot of questions in class based on the readings and things. So you have to be able to respond to those kinds of things. Okay, here we go one more time. The reading passage explains that fast food leads to obesity, creates high health risks among people in the United States, and encourages consumers to overeat. However, the listening passage, casting doubt on the points in the reading passage, explains that there are misunderstandings about fast food and that consumers should be responsible for their own lifestyles. First, the reading passage thinks that because fast food restaurants provide inexpensive and convenient food to consumers, these foods contain high calories and a lot of fat. And people are busy and do not have a lot of money due to the worsening economic conditions. They're causing people to become fat. Now notice kind of what I did here is I'm using this every time. I don't know if you know this, but it might be better to put it in there. Basically, I'm saying because. However, the speaker in the lecture argues that obesity cannot only be blamed on fast food restaurants. The people asserts that people's sedentary lifestyles of watching too much television and playing too many video games without being active is also causing people to become overweight. Next, the reading passage's main point is that fast food provides limited options for consumers and that fast food advertising has caused this food to become the main source for society, thereby causing ailments such as high cholesterol, diabetes, and heart disease. In contrast, the speaker in the lecture claims that fast food chains are making an effort to offer consumers healthier options such as fruits and salads. In fact, some states like New York and California, the speaker explains, offer calorie counts on each menu item, on each food item in the menu, so that consumers can understand how much they are eating. Finally, the author in the reading passage argues that fast food establishments encourage people to overeat because these chains offer free refills of which consumers often take advantage. That consumers are drinking massive amounts of soda and other sweetened drinks leads to obesity. Conversely, the speaker in the lecture argues that even though these fast food restaurants offer free refills on sweetened drinks, it is a consumer's responsibility to limit how much they eat or drink. Therefore, unhealthy lifestyles of consumers and not just fast food chains have contributed to obesity. You might say at the end, the speaker argues. You got to get those voice markers in there, right? To sum up, it is undeniable, according to the reading passage, that the fast food world now has had a great impact on people's health, but that does not mean, according to the speaker in the listening passage, that people should choose such an unhealthy lifestyle. And there it is. So I took your essay, which scored 2.5 out of 5, 17 points out of 30, or 70 points out of 100. I rewrote it. And this will score 5 out of 5, 30 out of 30, or 100 out of 100. So what do? What are some of the things you got to do in order to improve your writing? Unfortunately, you have some pretty serious issues. A lot of your issues are vocabulary and grammar issues. You have to be able to effectively combine information together as you're explaining it from the reading and the listening passage. And once you start trying to combine ideas, you have a lot of sentence structure issues. And that's a pretty big problem, right? So for you, you got to practice more writing. I think you've done at least maybe 1 or 2 writing practice tests in my course. However, that's not enough for you. I recommend you do writing practice almost every day. That's going to be much better for you because it helps you solve more problems, right? It's not just doing 2 or 3 writing assignments and being done. You got to do a lot more than that because you got to get more and more familiar with the kinds of problems that you're having. All right, so thank you for completing this integrated writing practice test.